Hey, it's Jake Mesa, the vegan athlete. That's the garden center over there. That's the koi pond down there. That's Supai and Venus right there. Go get it. Today, I'm gonna be showing you guys how I plant an edible tree, and today's tree is a miniature tree. It's called the Bonanza Peach. It's a dwarf tree because I'm making a little peach orchard right here. We have Bonanza Peach number 1, still dormant, just getting ready to bud for the spring. Number 2, number 3, and we're gonna put number 4 right here and number 5 here. So we have a row of peach trees that line the river, and they're all miniature ones. But what I found is that the Bonanza miniature peaches put off big peaches. So it's like yin and yang, small tree equals big peaches, and my giant Florida Prince peach tree puts off small peaches. So I love this Bonanza peach tree. It's great for a small space or for having a bunch of trees that yield fruit without taking up a lot of room. Let's get to planting. I'll show you what I do. So first I got all these wood chips all over the place. I gotta rake them out of the way, but I gotta rake them out of the way enough so that when I dig the dirt out, I won't mix up the dirt with the wood chips. So check it out. I clear these wood chips way out of the way. My hole is not gonna be this big, but I really wanna get these wood chips out of here because I don't wanna mix too many wood chips in with the soil for my tree because that would be too much carbon and would leach nitrogen out of the soil. So about like that. Now next, as I dig the hole, and we planted about 100 to 120 trees here at Longevity Gardens, my backyard. So I've gotten the technique down over the years, and here's how I do it. I pick the center point I want the tree to go, which is gonna be here, and then I begin digging the hole. As I dig out the dirt, I begin to make a water basin. And this is gonna be what's gonna help my tree to keep water in the root zone when I water him and when it rains. Because we're in the desert, Phoenix, Arizona, rot is never really an issue here. It's so dry and rains very little. And we have over 370 days a year. So it's important that we do something with the water basin that allows the moisture to stay in the tree's roots and not run off. So I'll give you guys 3 more shovelfuls, and then I'll get to digging and I'll cut back in a few minutes. So look how I'm creating this big, gigantic grubs. You guys like to eat grubs? I know somebody who does. My chickens. So we're gonna put these grubs right here on this piece of flagstone. And the chickens are already clucking in anticipation for those grubs. So I'm gonna keep digging this water basin, and I'll show you the finished product in about 5 minutes. I've got the hole dug. And so look at what I did. I got my Bonanza Peach here. Look how beautiful this guy is looking. I got this one from Barrage Nursery near Camelback and 44th Street in Scottsdale, Phoenix area. Barrage Nursery. They've been around there for 77 years, and they're really beautiful, cute, and well-kept nursery with people that know what they're doing. So this guy already has some buds, and he's budding out, and even a little flower about to bloom right there. To end this video, I'll show you my Florida Prince Peach, which is also from Barrage Nursery, which I have in full bloom right now. So look at the size. That's the size of the hole in relation to the tree I'm gonna put in there. Good? Okay, now, here's what we're gonna do next. We're gonna take all this good compost I brought over, and I really got a good compost. See that? Get a compost that's as composted as possible. What I mean by that is that all the wood chips and woody matter is broken down. If your compost looked sticky like this, it would be okay maybe, but it would leach a lot of nitrogen from the soil. And so we want to combine it with good compost. When I first began doing trees, every nursery in town told me, just put your tree in a 50-50 mix. 50% native clay, 50% wood chips, and I found that to be wrong. It's not enough good nutrients, and it's not enough moisture retention for the soil. So I throw in compost, and this compost also has some coconut coir in it, some cocoa coir, which I got off eBay. And it also has some gypsum, and it also has some azomite rock dust minerals. I mixed it in one of my raised beds and I put it in this pot. So, recap: compost with gypsum, with coconut coir and azomite rock dust minerals. And I would really recommend putting in some worm castings. Worm castings would be great for your tree. And then I mix a 50, I think about maybe a 70-30 mix. 70% this, 30% native clay. And here's how I do it. I line the bottom of the tree hole with the compost. And that way I figured when I watered this guy for the first time, all the moisture is going to soften up the clay at the bottom, and it's going to allow the tree's roots to penetrate deep. Because the way that trees will defend themselves against the summer heat and the winter cold is by penetrating their roots deep. Then I take my tree, and this is a bare root, so the soil is not going to stay on the roots, but they just put it in this pot a few days, maybe a week ago. So most of the soil might fall off the root system, but since it's a bare root tree, it should be okay, and I'm going to plant them and water them right away. You could cut the pot while it's in the hole, but I like to save these pots and use them to pick up dog poop with. Okay, so we're going to take this guy and gently try to pull him out and try my best to keep the roots intact, like that. You see how it all broke away? That's gonna be okay. I'll just set him right there and I'll move this soil around. This soil looks like from barrage, it has a lot of lava rock in it. Looks really good. Now hopefully he'll stay there for a second. I'm gonna throw one shovel full of clay. That's the native soil in there. Then I'm gonna throw some more of my compost in there. Oh, you know what I also put in this compost mix is sand. I always put a big scoop of sand or multiple scoops of sand. That'll help drainage, especially if you live in an area that has irrigation or something like that. Now another shovel full of native soil. Some more of the compost on top. And if you notice, see here at the bottom of the tree, they had the soil filled up to here, which is just above the roots. That's perfect. So I want to match that. I also want my soil to come up to that same point. And that way I'm not going to drown the tree's roots. And now, here's where the important part begins. There's two things we have to do before we walk away from this tree. I got the super special ingredient in this bag here. And what this is my neighbor Dave across the way over here has been collaborating with me lately trying to find a bunch of leaves. So these are leaves that my neighbors have put in the trash after raking up their trees that they were going to throw to the dump. And I've probably saved about 20 to 30 to 40 bags of leaves so far that would have gone to the dump, that instead we're putting them in our landscape. So it's really important that you guys, especially if you're in the Phoenix area, I'm in Tempe, you gotta mulch. You gotta put leaves or wood chips on top. So watch how much I put on there. Like that much. And now I spread it around all over the place. So what's gonna happen is in like 2 or 3 days, or after we get a rain, these leaves will all settle down and will look like the trees behind Pam over there. See how those leaves are all broken down and looking normal? Those trees you're looking at right now looked like this a couple weeks ago. So the leaves break down and they become microbial life. The leaves break down and they keep the moisture in the soil. The leaves break down and they keep the roots cool in the summer and hotter in the winter. The leaves break down and they leave different nutrients the trees need. Trees lose their leaves on purpose because when they lose their leaves, they're trying to give that nutrients back to the roots, and then we rake them up and blow them up and take them away, and the tree doesn't have as much health. So I'm bringing the leaves back to the tree's health, back to the root system, and I'm doing it with my neighbor's leaves. So what I do is by the trunk, I dig a little bit away, and that way I'm not like, I don't want to bury the tree like this. I want it to have a little bit of a nest. Just right there. So that's the first of the most important things I do at the end. And then lastly, the last step is this. We water them. Now here's how we do it. I first do a light water to settle all the leaves or wood chips. You can always use wood chips instead of leaves. But this also will settle the water basin that I made. So all that dirt I built up around the edge, it'll help to settle that dirt down. So I'm settling all the leaves. I'm settling the water basin. Then I kind of flood the middle a little bit. And once I kind of flood the middle a little bit, I turn the water level way down low, to like this level. And just leave it in there. And let it do a slow trickle and leave it for like maybe 10, 15 minutes. And then what I'll do is this, since this tree is brand new and just got planted, what that slow water does is it settles all the soil around the roots and eliminates all air pockets and makes the tree drink in that newly nutrient-rich, newly poured soil. And then I leave that in about 10-15 minutes, and then in about 3 days from now I'll do it again. Because initially I water the trees about twice a week for the first week or two. Once that initial 2-week period has passed, I'll water only once a week, and then I just keep mulching it, and usually because of the compost and the soil and the mulch, I can get away with now my peach tree over there watering it once a month, and it still does great. So what I found is that every year that's gone by, I'm watering my trees less and less. I've even forgotten a few of the trees, like pomegranates, peaches, plums, what else have I forgotten about? And they've done great without water at all because of the amount of wood chips, leaves on top that keep the moisture in the soil. So I'm gonna get to planting this guy, and I'll give you guys a final shot when I'm all finished with both so you can see the finished product of my row mini orchard of Bonanza miniature peach trees. We're finished up. We got 2 new Bonanza peach trees that look so good. I'll come back to you guys in a few days, maybe a week, when they start to bloom. And hopefully all 5 of these guys together will look like a beautiful array of pink flowers all together. And we have another one, a 6th one over there by the patio. And now we have room to walk through. Plenty of mulch, beautiful trees. Give a little bit of shade to the cherry of the Rio Grande and some other stuff, and we can eat it at the same time. Thanks for joining me. Make sure that you guys subscribe to our channel. Check out my other channel for the martial arts at the Shaolin Center. It's right here on the screen right now, and I will see you guys back here next time. Bonus footage. Here's the Florida Prince peach tree in full bloom. It's probably the best day I've seen so far. There's bees all over the flowers. And see how I put a ring of leaves around every tree. The carob tree's got one. The almond trees have got them. The pomegranate's got it. The Brazilian pepper tree has got it. The jujubes have got it. And of course the Florida Prince peach and the fig in the back. So we've put easily 20, 30, 40 bags of leaves around each tree. They'll break down and they'll become the most healthy trees with the best soil in the whole city.